Good morning, everyone. This is Karen Cochrane from Tara Biz Condado, Frizzy Hair to Boot, and clientmarketingsolutions.com. I don't know whether it's this area in the office and the fluorescent light, but it doesn't show me up on my best light. I think I'm going to have to change where I do this. Anyway, guys, tip of the morning to you with my garbanzo shaker. It always puts a smile on all of our faces, so I hope it puts a smile on yours as well. Good morning. Today I've taken a few notes because I want to get through quite a few bits and pieces. I posted this morning a little picture, and it was about the Bible itself, talking about being authentic. So please don't turn off if you think this is going to be a religious post, because it's not, okay? What does it mean, being authentic? Well, I think it's thinking, loving, and acting from the heart, okay? Very, very clearly. People can feel your energy. People can note when you're being truly authentic, when you really mean it, okay? And if the Bible itself, which I take as one of my big guidebooks for my life, if the Bible itself talks about being truly authentic, obviously in that case related to perhaps God and your religious beliefs, etc., I take it that in my life I have a responsibility, a personal responsibility, a duty as such, a stewardship, to be authentic in everything that I do. And that also means, I'm not sorry. I said yesterday I wasn't going to say I'm sorry. Thank you for listening to me about boundaries, okay? I really think that this comes back to having fantastic boundaries and keeping your boundaries, because who can you be most authentic to? You have to start your authenticity with you, with your inner work. And if something's annoying you, if you're tolerating something, look for a solution, look for a positive solution in that situation, in that event, or with that relationship. Because if you're putting up with something, you're tolerating something, you're getting on with it, and just head down, wings tucked in, and getting on with it, you're not being authentic to yourself. And I certainly do believe that my own inner work begins with me. Who else would it begin with at the end of the day? I also believe that our eyes are there's an old-fashioned Irish expression, I'm sure it's worldwide. The eyes are the windows to the soul. And if you look into somebody's eyes when they're talking to you, if somebody is incapable of connecting with you and looking you straight in the eyes, I get shivers. I do not like working with or dealing with people that cannot look me in the eye, because it's almost as if they're being inauthentic and hiding something. So what I also wanted to talk about with this is, I've heard Louise Hay, that amazing soul, very grateful for her wisdom. I've heard her talk several times about what she terms mirror work. And I call mirror work, I think it's a twofold thing. Good morning, Van Williams. Good morning, Christy. Tip of the morning to you. I've heard Louise talk about this, and I believe that mirror work for me means two things. I don't know about you. First and foremost, it's the idea of looking yourself straight in the eye in a mirror, reflecting yourself in the mirror, looking yourself straight in the eye, and telling yourself that you really do love yourself. Look into the mirror and say, I love you. I really, really love you. And say your name. Now, I know this sounds really simple and daft, but have you tried it? Have you tried looking at yourself in the mirror and actually saying that to yourself? Because it was a huge moment for me, because I thought, that's daft. I've never done it. You look at yourself, ladies, you gents, maybe when you're putting on your mascara, you don't need. Joke. When I'm doing my makeup, when the ladies are doing their makeup, they have to look in the mirror. So that's the only time, or brushing your hair, that's the only time that I really would have ever looked in the mirror. And to actually look, it felt a little bit daft. It's a little bit silly at the first, but it really does work. You feel such love for yourself. And if you don't have self-love, if you don't have that authenticity for yourself, how can we show up for other people? Whether that's serving in our business, on our job, in our profession, whether that's serving our family, because we're here to do, all of us, authentic service. we can't do that. We can't be truly authentic with others if we're not authentic with ourselves, and we don't start with the self-love. So I would invite you to have a look at yourself in the mirror, connect with yourself, look at yourself in the mirror and say just those words, very simple, beautiful words. I love you, I really, really love you, and say your name. Say that a couple of times and do that morning and evening and see how it actually feels, how your energy inside, how that actually helps you through the day, because it's worked for me. Somebody called me out yesterday on my Facebook Live when I was talking about a certain thing. I've not actually apologised, not going round. I mean, that's very Irish. We go around saying sorry to our shadow, for God's sake. So I believe that sorry is not a great energy. If you say, instead of saying sorry for everything, if you come from a place of gratitude and appreciation and say thank you for, it's a completely different energy. And I'm grateful that that person called me out, because it opened something inside of me, and I actually talked with several of my coaching clients in the afternoon about it. So I'm very grateful. If people do not get something that I'm saying, I don't mind in the least if you actually either post whilst I'm doing the Facebook Live, and I will try and look and see if somebody's saying something to me, or later, and I will respond, because difference of opinions are great, because it opens us, and we all should be open to other people's opinions and open to listening to other people. It may not mean that they're right, it may not mean that I'm right, but it's a great thing. So anyway, getting back to the mirror work, try it. The second part of what I consider for myself, I don't know about you, but what I consider to be mirror work is when I give advice, when I am coaching someone, when I'm helping them with their business strategies and the profitability strategies, etc. Oftentimes, I like to listen to what I'm saying. I get these downloads, I get these inspiring thoughts, apart from the program that we follow and the techniques. And I often say to myself, listen to your own advice. Healer, heal yourself. Teacher, teach yourself. Learn. Holding a mirror up to other people around you. It's not even just giving advice. If you're not coaching, you can hold up the mirror and say, mentally hold up the mirror and say, that person is annoying me. What characteristic or trait in that other person am I actually seeing? It's something within me that I myself might need to be aware of and perhaps change. So I think that mirror work is something that's essential for our growth. Looking into your own eyes and saying, I love you, darling. I really, really love you. And say your name. That's beautiful. That is beautiful. And that's the start of being authentic. So you start your authenticity off with you. And I do believe, as I said earlier, that the eyes are the mirror. For God's sake, I've got the mirror in the brain. Eyes are the window to the soul. So start with connecting with yourself. So I would ask you to maybe think about the following. Ask yourself the question, where am I being truly authentic? Am I being truly authentic as I go through my day? Because I always say that it's not what you say to folks, it's how you say it. And obviously the content of what you're saying or what you're teaching or what you're doing on a daily basis in your business or profession is important. But it's not what you're saying necessarily, it's the way and how you're saying it, because people get your energy, okay? Good morning, Barbara. Tip of the morning to you. It's how we say and our energy. So people can get, you may think you're, unless you're a great Hollywood actor and you really can mask, but I say the following, you know yourself. You can feel when somebody's been authentic, when somebody's been really nice, when somebody really, really cares about you. And that is the most important. I think that's, for me, one of the biggest lessons that I've had. Good morning, good morning, good morning. It's one of the biggest lessons that I've had in my life. Asking myself, am I truly being authentic? Because if you're not, people will find you out, and they'll find you out at the drop of a hat. It's very, very clear. So I'm looking at my notes because when one hits a certain age, one's memory fails one. So I like to go, and I don't want to miss out on anything that I've been inspired to talk about today. So we've talked about being authentic. We've talked about what I understand for me are the two types of mirror work. And one of the things that I wanted to start sharing with you was I have on my phone what I call daily reminders, little alarms that go off on my iPhone, and the alarm I actually write in a little message, a little positivity reminder to myself. All right, and I wanted to start running through a couple of them to see if it resonates with you, and you might even start wanting to do that because it's something that it brings me back to my reality. My reality is not the shit that happens to me, not the people that come and rattle my cage, because life happens. No, my reality is what I create, my words, my pictures, and my energy. And on every half an hour or so, I have one of these alarms going off. And one of the first one I wanted to share with you is I choose to do my worst things first. I choose to do my worst things first. What does that mean? We have a technique here in my business, in my accountancy firm, that all of the team, we plan for the next day, the day before. We obviously do more planning, but we check in the day before we finish off our day, and we already know what we call our three frogs. And that we have a period of time in the morning that we do our worst things. Now, the worst things may not necessarily be the biggest thing time-wise, but things, a phone call to somebody that is not necessarily going to be a nice phone call. Get it out of the way. Fear is a part of our lives, and we have to battle. I call it the enemy. I do believe that fear is the evil one. And we have a choice to either live in love or the other end of the spectrum in fear. And I really do believe that having these reminders, doing the worst things first. Fear is the things that we fear are never as bad or as big or as awful as we make them out to be. And rather than allowing these things to take root in your brain and in your energy, do the worst things first and get them over and done with, because they're never as bad as you think. And the energy boost that you get, it's like, it's like having 100 cups of coffee, for example, if you're tip of the morning to you. It's not Guinness, I promise. It's Nespresso. I'm a bit of an espresso girly. So it's like getting 100 one of those. It gives you such a high, and it's a positive, it's a healthy high, not a coffee high. Knowing that you've got that shitty thing, that awful thing that you feared, A, it wasn't as bad, and B, whatever happens, you've got it out of the way, and then you can rock the rest of your day. You've got an energy, and with the team, sometimes my team look at me and think, oh God, she's off on the coaching bit again, she's telling me, she's given it, but they start not now realising that the majority of stuff, after 25 years in business and training, and always be looking to learn and listen to other people and learning from other people, that works. And that most of my gems, most of my wisdom is something that if they take it and adapt it to their day-to-day, it actually works and makes them highly productive, and they enjoy what they're doing. And there's things in the day that you don't want to do them first thing. So that's what the reminder, I choose to do my worst things first. I'm reminding myself, and I obviously I don't have it at the end of the day. Good morning, Helen. Good morning, Mo. Good morning, Dillis. We're having quite a crowd today. Thank you for being here. And if my messages are getting to you and I'm being authentic, because that was one of the first things I talked about. Don't want to bore the knickers off everyone, if you excuse the Irish, repeating everything for people that have just joined. But I think it's a pretty good post today. I think it's a pretty good Facebook Live. So have a check out on being authentic. So I've lost my train of thought. That's a good job. I've got me notes. The choose to do my worst things first. When do I put that on my phone? I obviously don't put it later on in the day. I put it on the morning, very early. It's already gone off. Because I'm a 5 a.m. girl. I do my magic morning in the mornings for an hour and a half, and that really helps me. So I start from 5 o'clock with these positivity alarms, as I call them. And I remind myself every single day that I choose I make the choice. I choose to do my worst things first and get the buggers out of the way. And then the rest of my day is for enjoying. Okay? So I hope that helps you. I would recommend you have a go at that. So the last thing I wanted to do was something I would love to, apart from asking you all to come back and tell me if something's resonated with you, if it's helped you, because I do these Facebook Lives. I remind you, my promise to myself and to you lot was every single day, Monday to Friday, to do a Facebook Live. It's my getting out of my comfort zone. And what I wanted to do also is a little bit of asking you to help me. I want you to hold me accountable to the following. I'm going to do a challenge, and the challenge is I wrote a book in English, Big Beautiful Balance, tongue twister, Big Beautiful Balance, and I've got quite a big Spanish speaking audience now, coaching clients that I work with, lawyers, architects, professionals here in Spain. And a lot of them, although they speak relatively good English, they would obviously they'd feel that the book would be better for them in Spanish. So my challenge to myself, and I would love you to hold me accountable for that, is I want to translate the Spanish in the next month. I've said by the 6th of July, I want to have translated that book. So I often say to my peeps, when you give yourself a challenge or you've got a plan and you've got a deadline, do a reverse engineering job on it. What does that mean? It means that you break the big job down into bite-sized pieces, stuff that you can actually, nice talk but hard lessons. Have a great day. Yes, these have been hard lessons, and life does give us hard lessons, and we can choose to learn from them and then share that learning with other people. This is just not a facade. What you see today is the result of a lot of lonely hours, a lot of down moments. The tip of the iceberg is never, it's always pretty, and it's only a small part of what goes on. And as a great friend of mine and mentor said, you feel shit, get your glad rags on and put your makeup on, put your lipstick on, and get your hair done, although the fuzzy Irish hair doesn't help, and get out there and do it and motivate yourself. And whatever we have in life, I've lost loved ones early on in life. I know that you've had certain issues as well, and I send a lot of love and prayers to you. So back to my challenge. I like to reverse engineer. I find reverse engineering, which is literally, and I wanted to do this live so that you could see practice in what I do. So I want, basically I've counted the pages. Well, I didn't count them. I opened the book and saw that there were 62 pages that I need to translate. It's a small guidebook. So I've set myself a month, and I do not work at the weekends. I do not want to be translating at the weekends. So what I've done, this is quite easy peasy. 20 working days, 20 divide 62 by 20, and you don't need to be a great mathematician. That's approximately 2 pages per day that I need to translate. So that's what I'm going to be doing every single day. The metrics of if I'm on track for my challenge, are literally 2 pages per day. And I'll make it easy peasy, and that it's a challenge. I've got a goal. I will hit that goal on the 6th of July. I will have that book translated into Spanish, and the very next day I will put it on Create Space and get it published in Spanish. So that's what I would say. That's how I wanted to give you a little bit of a practice. Not only would I love you to hold me accountable to that by the 6th of July I get that book translated. Good morning, Susie. But not only would I like you to hold me accountable to that challenge, I wanted you to see what I call the plan and action, the reverse engineering. When we have something, we split it back to easy pieces, and they're bite-sized pieces that you don't choke on, okay? And that the metrics, the control then of what you're doing is, if today you've done your 2 days, you take off the 2 days, 2 pages, in my case 2 pages translated, I'll take off the box. If, for example, shit happens, because it does, folks, let's be realistic here, and I can't get the 2 pages done today, what do? To get myself back on track, tomorrow I have to do 4 pages. All right. So I just wanted to show you a little bit of the reverse engineering technique that I use with my coaching clients and with my business clients as well. And if you see it in action with something relatively small, and you start off with something very small, it's like any sort of muscle building that you have to do. You don't go and run a 10k run the first day you start back to running. You build it up. Well, this is the same sort of thing. Build up those muscles. So, guys, I think that's me talked out, and I appreciate you all being here sharing with me. As I said earlier, if you have any comments, if you have any contradictions, if you have any difference of opinion, I would appreciate you sharing that with me. What I say is something that has worked for me, or things that have worked for me, or are currently working for me, or currently been active in my life, like the positivity alarms on the iPhone, like I choose to do my worst things first every single day, stuff like that. So it's there. It's we're real and raw. So guys, this has been Karen Cochrane Hall with a tip of the morning to you. It's not just been a tip. I think I've given you about 5 today, so it's been a really, really good one. Real juicy post today, real juicy Facebook Live. We've talked about being authentic, the eyes being the window to the soul. A little bit of mirror work. We've talked about choosing to do your worst things first. We've talked about it's not what you say, it's how you say it, if you're being truly authentic. And we talked about my challenge to myself and a little bit of reverse engineering. So it's been a pretty hot post today. My garbanzo shaker, breaking the negative energy. If there's any negative energy around me, I'm also sending you all love, and I hope that I sincerely hope from the bottom of my heart that you're getting good stuff, and take these little tips and adapt them and try them out. It's what I said to the bloke yesterday that didn't agree with not saying sorry, that he thought, well, saying sorry all the time is better than what I was suggesting and that I'm doing, and what I was suggesting that you try out is, instead of saying sorry every 5 minutes, which is a very Northern Irish thing, start changing the energy and saying thank you for, and that's what we are finding that's working for us. But I'm always open to people's opinions. I've got to be a listener, not just a talker. So guys, God bless you all. I love you all, and I hope you have a phenomenal day, and I shall see you tomorrow. Karen Cochrane Hall from Terra Biz Condado and clientmarketingsolutions.com. Have a wonderful day, guys. I love you all.